Hello everybody, it's Cobes here, and today I'm back with a Pocket Mortys video. In today's video, I will be going over my top 5 favorite rare Mortys in Pocket Mortys. You guys leave your comments down below telling me what you think your favorite 5 are, if you even know what rare Mortys are. A rare Morty is someone who can't be evolved. It's a Morty that cannot be evolved. But one thing I want to go over before I start this video, these Mortys aren't going to be spectacular because not many Mortys are. These Mortys are just my 5 favorite that I think I could use as long as I don't use Cronenberg Morty, the One True Morty, or Morticia. I didn't add those 3 in the video because I always add those in videos and I didn't want to today. But besides those 3, these are my top 5 favorites. Another thing I wanted to go over before we get started with my top 5 favorites. If you have a Morty at level 50, let's say, and you level him up to level 80, he's going to have a greater advantage than me if I were to find him in the wild at level 80. Because when you level up your Mortys without giving them level up mega seeds or without finding them in the wild at a very high level, and you actually take the time to level them up by killing Mortys or trainers, whatever it may be, your Mortys will gain more attack speed and defense in their stats than mine will just finding them out in the wild at the same level that you have them if you were to level them up to the same level. So just keep that in mind. I don't know if that made any sense, but let's get right into this. So the first Morty we're going over is Poorly Cloned Morty. He's my 5th favorite rare Morty in the game. I will be making more episodes about this, but yeah, just watch the gameplay in the back and we're going to go over each of these Mortys. So Poorly Cloned Morty, right now for me, he has an attack of 154, which isn't amazing, but it's alright. I would say it's about average. He does have a higher HP than most rare Mortys, which is definitely an advantage if you want to use him in trainer battles. All of these Mortys you can use in trainer battles. That's the only thing I did today. I didn't go out and defeat any wild Mortys, just because I think it's a little bit more realistic when you face trainers to figure out how powerful your own Mortys are. So his first attack is Energy Drain, which basically hits the enemy. It is decently powerful, and it replenishes some HP to yourself. It's not too much. I would say it's about 10 to 20 HP every time it hits the enemy. So 10 to 20 HP added, possibly a little bit more depending upon how much damage he does. It's a pretty good attack move, and I enjoy using it. He has Vile Spew, which this Morty empties his insides onto the enemy but risks poisoning both himself and the enemy. So he can poison the enemy, which again, I like this attack move because sometimes he poisons the enemy and not himself, but there is a downside when he just poisons himself and not the enemy. But again, he hits the enemy as well as possibly poisoning them. Then he has Bone Extract, which is a power of 106. This guy is a paper or a scissors type, my bad. I'm sorry about that. And a 106 power attack is pretty good, I would say. And then he has a defense buff, which I rarely would use. But overall, I would say this guy is one of the best rare Mortys in the game, and I would definitely suggest using him. His looks are amazing. I guess I could get into his about. I don't know if I should or shouldn't. I think I'm going to just read it and I'll decide if I'm going to keep it in the video or not. So his characteristics, he's deformed and squishy. This Morty was found by Beth and Jerry among the possessions of their deceased Rick. Unable to find the right words, they decided to raise him as Morty's twin. So that's a pretty interesting backstory. You guys can leave any other theories you have for any of these backstories, and I would definitely like to read those, so please leave your comments down below telling me. Let's get into the next Morty. Of course, you guys already know there's going to be some Morty game Mortys inside here. I think there's 2, so you guys can make your predictions before we actually get into it. I don't know if I've already shown this Morty or if I'm going to wait until I actually say his name. But for number 4, we have Exoskeleton Morty. He's level 88, and his attack is a lot more powerful than Poorly Cloned Morty. At 191, he has a 1 level disadvantage to Poorly Cloned Morty, so I would say this guy is definitely usable for his attack and his attack moves. Let's get into those. He is a rock type, and his first attack is Claw with a power of 106 and 90% accuracy, which is the same as Poorly Cloned Morty's attack move, and his was a scissors type. This guy has a rock type. So I guess it's just depending upon what you're going against. If you're going against a scissors type, this guy is probably going to take out almost all scissor type Mortys with 2 hits. He has a grab attack, which has a chance of paralyzing the enemy. If successful, this will also lower their attack. So this could go very well, or it could go horribly. If it paralyzes them, which would definitely be a plus, it will also lower their attack. This can be definitely annoying if you're going against someone, and I know it's been used a lot against me because I always see this Morty in the wild. Then he has a swing attack move, which is 90 power and 90% accuracy, which really isn't that great, and wrangle, which is a defense debuff, which I rarely use. So I would say this Morty is pretty easy to get. I think you find him in the last dimension. I don't know exactly where you find all these Mortys, but poorly cloned Morty is found in the last dimension as well. Let's get into this guy's about. Honestly, if you run into the wild and you're level, let's say 40 or higher, you're going to see this Morty quite often, and you're going to see a lot of trainers with him as well. That's going to tell you that this Morty is usable and he is really good. This Morty spends his days hoping his dog doesn't realize he's human. His favorite food is marrow bone jelly. Whatever that means, I don't really know. Let's get into the next Morty. This is one of the greatest looking Mortys in this game. He is so cool looking, and I love the design. I love all the details in this Morty. This is Mega Morty, and he is a paper type. I had to add 1 scissors type. I didn't want it to be all rock and paper because I felt like that would have just been dumb to add. But he has an attack of 192. I think Exoskeleton Morty had an attack of 191. Granted, he does have a 2-level advantage, so I would say it would be similar to Exoskeleton Morty. But let's get into his attack. So he has one of the most powerful attacks in the game besides Morticia, who has an attack of 140 or a power of 140 for one of her attacks. He has a wrangle attack with 95% accuracy and a power of 130. If you're going against rock types, this will for sure be 2 hits, if not 1 hit. And that's against trainers. Unless you're going against maybe a 1-true Morty who is insanely powerful, it might be 3 hits, but for the most part, I would say 95% of the time, it's going to be 2 hits. He has a regenerate attack, which hits the enemy and also replenishes some health for himself, or HP, which is definitely a great attack move if you want to regain HP. I remember going against this guy. The first time I went against him, I could not defeat him because he kept on using this attack move and regaining HP for himself. So definitely use this guy. He is very powerful, and he has another attack with a power of 100. It's his beam attack, and then he has a defense buff. That's what I have him at. Those are all the attacks I have. If you're level 50, you'll have the same. This Morty has been deemed fit for mass production. Of course he has, and is currently undergoing field tests to see how it performs in real world scenarios. Let's get into the next Morty. You guys probably already know who it is, or do you? No, I'm lying. You have no clue. But he is a Morty game Morty, so take your guesses right now. Try to think of a Morty games Morty that could be in the top 5 for the rare Mortys in multiplayer. It is Turbulent Juice Morty. This guy is insanely powerful, and I hate going against him. He has the highest attack, I'm pretty sure, at 216 for a rare Morty, or at least one of the highest attacks you'll find for a rare Morty. It's insane how powerful this guy is, and he's very annoying to go against. He has a juice attack. This Morty performs a strong attack that rejuvenates to bring back some HP with an extra possible attack added after he hits the enemy and regains some health. So he'll hit the enemy, regain some health, and possibly hit them again, which is definitely very powerful if he does hit them again, and it can possibly take them out when you're not expecting it to. He has a selfie attack with a power of 100. And it doesn't have any element for it, no rock type. It's not a rock type attack, so it's definitely usable against every single Morty. Exfoliate is an attack which Morty sheds his dry skin and feels born again with a slight stat increase all over. So he increases all of his stats with this exfoliate, and I would definitely suggest using that. Because if you're increasing all your stats, you're basically going to fuck over the enemy. If you use that like 2 times in a battle, that Morty is not going down, trust me. In a world where muscular Mortys are coming, and they're coming strong, I feel like there's way too many comings in the sentence. No Morty is safe from the power of Turbulent Juice Morty, because he's going to take care of it. This Morty is very sexual. Just take a look at him. Very sexual, guys. Now time for my favorite Morty, my favorite rare Morty, granted. Not my favorite overall, but this is my favorite Morty, and I would suggest getting him as soon as possible. But getting him on your team, especially if you're a lower level player, because you can find him in Mortyland. It is Wild Mascot Morty. This guy is insanely powerful, and I don't really know what I would do without him. No, I'm lying. He's pretty good. I would suggest using him. He's a paper type, and he's definitely going to do a lot of damage against rock types. He is very difficult to find right now since all these new Mortys are coming out, and I think they have a better chance of spawning in than these rare Mortys, so good luck trying to find this bitch. It will be difficult. He has an attack of 188. Compared to the other Mortys we've went over, that's about average, if not a little bit lower. Then he has Sign Autograph. This is a paper type attack with 120 power. And then he has Death Stare with a power of 95, which is pretty good. And then this Morty uses his horn to hit the enemy with a chance of paralyzing them. That's a spear attack. So that's good. If you paralyze the enemy, that can definitely be very annoying and possibly give you more chances to hit the enemy without them hitting you. Let's get into this guy's about. This Morty didn't thrive in the chaos of the Mortyland uprising. Unleashed from the shackles of society, he's now free to enact his perverse justice on anyone who displeases him. This Morty is bad as fuck. He's a badass. I love him so much. I love his look. That's one of the reasons why I put him as my #1 spot. And he's super powerful. He is very difficult to find. And I would suggest going out and trying to capture this Morty as soon as possible. Getting him on your team, and you will be a little bit more powerful. That's going to do it for this video. If you have any video ideas for the future, please leave them in the comment section. I will see you guys in another episode soon. Probably tomorrow, and another live stream every single day for the rest of my life. See you guys.